Good evening, everyone. Welcome to tonight's stream. How is the sound? Can you hear me? Good evening, White Pills, Tony, the Glaucon. After my last stream, my microphone was busted and it took me 10 days to get a new microphone. And so tonight I'm trying my brand new microphone. I hope it sounds okay. Good evening, former nihilist. Good evening, Blanken. Yes, Blanken, I saw that he's back. How's the music? Is the volume okay? Good evening, Desmid. I uploaded a new video a few hours ago on my main channel. Tony, you mean the volume of the music or the volume of the microphone? Hello, Neotericity. Hello, Richard. Forgive me if I don't pronounce your names correctly. Yes, Shane, I'm using an application that is automatically lowering the volume of the music while I'm speaking. So I lowered the volume of the music. Let me know if it's better now. Hello, Todd. So I compiled a playlist with my favorite songs from Xurious. I've selected nice songs for tonight. I've selected many new memes. I've selected some interesting news articles and a couple of videos. So a few hours ago I uploaded a video about Israel's Samsung option, and within 1 hour it was flagged and put in limited state. So I deleted it because when they put videos in limited state, it's possible that they can also give you a strike. But if you want to watch it, you can go to my BitChute channel. All my deleted videos are backed up there. The funny thing about this video is that it was a compilation of clips from different videos that are on YouTube. And all these videos are not banned on YouTube, they are not in limited state, but once I took the clips and compiled them, within 1 hour the video was put in limited state. There was nothing wrong with the video, it was just showing from mainstream sources about Israel's nuclear program and about Israel threatening to nuke the entire planet if someone harasses them. The interesting thing is that as soon as I uploaded the video, immediately it got 1 downvote. So I guess someone is subscribed to my channel and for some reason hates me, and as soon as I upload a video he dislikes it and he flags it. Yes, Blanken, you can call in. Just send me a message on YouTube and I can give you the link. No, it's not baked Alaska. I think it's some British vegan Nazi. Well, my channel since day one is always on a strike. I get strikes, I get videos deleted, I get videos age restricted, videos in limited state. That's why I can never stream from my main channel. Todd Whelan, I saw Varg's video and it is full of bullshit. Varg is lying. Varg is living from YouTube. His videos have ads. He makes a living out of YouTube. That's why he doesn't admit that they are censoring. Because they are not censoring him. And they are not censoring him because he's not dangerous. No normie will wake up because he saw a Varg video. Exactly like no normie will wake up because he sees a Nazi video or a Hitler speech or a Holocaust video. These subjects are not censored because they are not dangerous. They don't convince normie people. Varg is not stupid. He's lying because he makes his living out of YouTube ads.
Thus, do always what you should. Consider no longer when, but in all moments, rise for good. Be among the heroes of men. Be recalled as one who stood.
Let's see the first news story for today. Israel deploys troops to Syrian border after detecting unusual movements of Iranian forces. Israel is getting ready. They want a war with Iran, and they are using Trump for this war. The Israeli Defense Force says it has identified unusual movements of Iranian forces in Syria. They responded by ordering the opening of shelters and ordering troops to be on heightened alert for an attack. First it was Afghanistan, Iraq, Libya, Syria, and now Iran. And every time they use the US Army for their plans. Now let's take a look at Trump's announcement tonight.
The Iran deal is defective at its core. If we do nothing, we know exactly what will happen. In just a short period of time, the world's leading state sponsor of terror will be on the cusp of acquiring the world's most dangerous weapons. Therefore, I am announcing today that the United States will withdraw from the Iran nuclear deal. In a few moments, I will sign a presidential memorandum to begin reinstating U.S. nuclear sanctions on the Iranian regime. We will be instituting the highest level of economic sanction. Any nation that helps Iran in its quest for nuclear weapons could also be strongly sanctioned by the United States. America will not be held hostage to nuclear blackmail. We will not allow American cities to be threatened with destruction, and we will not allow a regime that chants death to America to gain access to the most deadly weapons on earth. Today's action sends a critical message. The United States no longer makes empty threats. When I make promises, I keep them.
So probably they are getting ready for war with Iran. Trump is just a puppet. His handlers are in Israel. And they want war with Iran. And if this happens, Americans will pay the price. Americans will pay for another expensive war. Americans will give their life again. Children will lose their fathers in America because of Israel. The Glaucon asked me, what does it mean to be put in limited state? This means that your video can no longer be shared, you cannot comment on it, you cannot like it or dislike it, and it basically means that they do not delete it, but you have 0 views. And this has happened many times to my videos. And maybe you've noticed some of my videos are mirrors from other channels. They do not put in limited state the original video, but they put my video, which is just a mirror. Now let's go to the next news article. Facebook is accused of introducing extremists to one another through suggested friends feature. So we knew that Facebook allows profiles from ISIS members. We also knew that if you criticized Islam or ISIS, you get banned from Facebook. And now we see that Facebook helps them find each other and organize. Facebook has helped introduce thousands of Islamic State of Iraq extremists to one another. So, no surprise here. Our greatest ally who owns Facebook, our greatest ally who treats wounded ISIS soldiers in Israel, our greatest ally that was never under attack from ISIS, now our greatest ally helps them organize through Facebook. Hello, BigCatKayla, welcome. So give me a moment, chat. I will send the link to BigCatKayla and she will join us. Kayla, I just sent you the link on Twitter. Thank you, Ree Monroe. The memes you are seeing are from my collection. I'm collecting for over a year now from various sources. And these are only the family friendly memes. I've got more hardcore memes, but I cannot show them here because I will get shot. Welcome Privada. Welcome Ironheart. Welcome Cory. Welcome Lily. Well, the Glaucon wants my hardcore memes. I'm thinking maybe I can zip them and upload them somewhere and give you the link. Welcome, Kayla.
Hello?
Hello. Can you hear me? Hello, Kayla? Kayla, can you hear me?
Can you hear me, Poseidon?
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, good. Okay. I've been having a little mic issues myself.
I can hear you clearly. Can you hear me?
I can.
Okay.
I'm so glad to hear you again.
Thank
I need my favorite Greek to, make my day a little warmer, a little nicer.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. It's so good to hear you too.
That's good. So how are you doing today?
Well, I'm very good today because finally after 10 days I have a working mic again.
I mean, 10 days, that would feel like forever for me right now. Once you do this enough, right? You just not doing it, it feels so weird.
Yes,
Too weird.
the funny thing is I got 3 new mics in these 10 days. The first
Wow.
one, the cable was not working. I gave it back. The second one had a sound card It wasn't, the sound card was damaged. I gave it back. This is the third mic, and this had also problems. It had also a sound card and it was not working. But I went and bought another sound card, and finally, after 10 days, I managed to have a mic that is working. Someone cursed me.
Third time's a charm, right? I mean, thank goodness it's third and not 30th.
Yes.
We couldn't have lived without you on the internet with us for that long. That's just no.
You're too kind.
It would have ended up just being, faster to fly you over here and just share the mic I have. So that's always another option.
Yes, well, I'm very unlucky. Very unlucky. My friends call me a black cat.
Oh no. Well, I have had nothing but good luck around you. And you know what? After the last 24 hours, I needed some good luck. And, I'm so glad that I saw you here and I was able to come over into this nice corner of the internet where everyone is friendly. There's no issues. There's no attacks. Nothing like that. It's a nice, comfy place. I can say that.
Yes, it's my hidden corner of the
Right?
internet. Not many subscribers here. Not many haters, like in my main channel.
Oh. I mean, that's the good thing, right? Is that we have really nice people that we surround ourselves with, especially in these streams, and the people in the chat, of course. And yeah, the worst thing is just when outsiders come on, and they can kind of mess some things up. Throw a little Molotov cocktail in there, but nothing good.
Yes, I got a Molotov cocktail today.
Oh, really?
I uploaded a video and within 1 hour it was put in limited state. Usually it takes them a week to do this. But in 1 hour, and it was a very a video that it wasn't something extreme. It was a compilation of clips from various mainstream news sources.
Oh, so it's okay when they do it.
Yes, yes. Well, I take parts from various sources and I edit them and combine them in a way that you can get the meaning.
Exactly. That's the thing. You put them in the proper context.
Yes, yes. I put effort in finding them and combining the scenes and the words and cutting and joining clips at the exactly correct moment. And I never give my own views. I never give my opinion. I let the viewer understand. And this is what makes these videos dangerous.
No, that's exactly it, right? If you put it in the context to where, like you said, you put it out there, you give it for people to view. You don't add any extra opinions to it, any flair to it, nothing, because you understand what you're putting out is, the message that it sends is strong enough, right? It's clear enough. And it's not being diluted by bias or by opinions, whether they're on our side or not. And sometimes that really is just the best thing. You put the title up, you show the video, and you let people draw their own conclusions.
Yes.
I mean, I saw you put out, it was a clip, and I believe it was something titled, 8 Indian men versus 1 Indian girl.
Yes, correctly.
And it was got from the very first second where it started, right before anything really happened, because your brain, if it's educated enough in situations and kind of where they need to be to even escalate to a certain point, you somehow just know that you know where it's going to go. And my stomach was just in this knot, and then the knot just kept getting bigger and the knot kept getting tighter, and I wanted to close the window so badly. And I just figured, like, I'm like, nope, I have to just force myself. I have to watch this. And I think that's one of the things, that's one of the things I think people like us are good at, is being able to understand that what we're about to watch is not pretty, to say the least. And yet we continue to watch it because it is the truth. It's the way that events really happen. And it's important to actually see them.
Yes, and what was interesting about this video, I downloaded it from an English website, Daily Mail. The faces were blurred. I did not add any negative comment. I just said this is wonderful, and this is exactly why we must bring them to our country to enrich our country. I stated only positive things. And this video was also uploaded by dozens of news channels, by CNN India, by dozens, and it got on these channels hundreds of thousands of views, and it was not deleted. And on my channel, as soon as it got 2,000 views, they deleted it. But the funny thing is, they deleted the video, and normally when they delete a video because you violate their rules, they give you a strike. They did not give me a strike. And I made an appeal, and in my appeal, I just sent them 20 links of this video from mainstream news channels, and I told them, here are 20 more links, delete them.
That's right.
And of course, they didn't accept my appeal. They didn't respond.
No, they didn't. But YouTube is always so good at getting back to you and being honest with you and holding you to the same standards that they hold everyone else. Ah, that's just so out of character for YouTube. My goodness.
Yes, it's strange.
Oh, boy.
They target, from what I have understood the last year that I'm on YouTube, they target specific channels, not content, channels. So the same video can be uploaded by CNN or by Sargon or by a small channel. They won't mind. If I upload it, I get a strike. Now that I mentioned Sargon, I don't know if you've heard a clip where Sargon called the alt-right white.
Yeah.
Yes.
We were acting like a bunch of white nibbas.
Yes. Well, I took this clip from Sargon and I uploaded it, and I got a strike.
Jesus. I mean, that's...
Sargon did not get a strike. He can still say it. The video where he's saying it is still online. But I uploaded a few seconds of Sargon saying it with a link in the description to the original video, and I got a strike. And this is the strike that I'm now on my main channel.
Well, and you see that, right? Because a lot of us, well, okay, not me, but a lot of us, we fall into this this group of YouTubers where, the channel is either too small, like mine, for YouTube to care, or it's so big that YouTube can't just retaliate willy-nilly against someone like Sargon. But then you've got channels like yours, right, where it's got thousands of views and thousands of subscribers. and they just, those are fair game, right? Because you're not big enough to put up a big fuss, and yet you're not small enough to still fly under their radar. And so there, and that's the majority of people on YouTube. They're the people that get hit with, the strikes, and just it. I don't know. I guess it's really hard because when it comes to alt media, or kind of alt tech channels or websites, they unfortunately just don't have the same traction, right? Like Gab, they still don't have the same traction as Twitter or Facebook, or and Minds is the same way. But yeah, when it comes to YouTube, they really are the monopoly, and they hold that monopoly well, and they can exploit their users without any type of recourse.
Yes, you're right. They cannot target big channels, because if they target a big channel, people will know it. If they delete Sargon's channel, he's got hundreds of friends, thousands of subscribers. He's got journalists. He's got. He'll go to TV stations. People will know about it. But a small channel, there are no rules there. They just delete it. And that's why I'm very careful what I upload. I'm very careful of the content, of the thumbnail, of the description, of the tags, because I know they are waiting that I make one small mistake to delete my channel. And that's why I've uploaded 150 videos, but
wow.
on only 20 are online. I upload them, and after a week I delete them, because I know if I left 150 videos online on YouTube, they will find plenty of reasons to delete my channel. So I cannot leave them online for too long.
That's just, I mean, I hate to hear that, right? I hate to hear that someone like you, that's very talented and works really hard at the videos that you make, you have to put them up there, hope that the people that are subscribed go and download that video, watch that video, and save it for posterity, or else they're going to miss out on the chance. And you're going to have people like me who, I come in and I find your channel a little later, right? So all of the things that were uploaded before, your opinions, your documentations of all these events that had happened in the past, they're gone. And no one should have to do that. That is the whole point of a video sharing website, right? Is to, be able to upload things for posterity, right? For archival purposes, for entertainment purposes, beyond, 1 week.
Thankfully, I have BitShoot. When I upload a video on YouTube, after a few hours, it gets automatically backed up on BitShoot, and all my videos are there.
Oh, okay.
So if someone wants to see my best videos are on BitShoot now, because my best videos were deleted on YouTube and I got striked for them. And
I mean, go ahead.
actually, one of my best videos is, I think, the fourth most viewed video of the last year on the entire BitShoot platform.
Wow.
And it survived only a few hours here on YouTube. But thankfully BitShoot does not delete anything, so everything is backed up there. But the problem is that people don't go on BitShoot. People don't go on Minds. Everyone is on YouTube. So if you want to reach people, you must be here.
Well, and I mean, even I got on Twitter like a month ago, right? Because I knew that streaming on YouTube and things like that, you'd have to go on there so that you can actually get in contact with people and do it in real time, obviously, because people don't check their email the same way that they check their Twitter. And with a lot of the personalities that we like to have on and talk with and people that we're fans of, that's where they are. And so I just recently tried going on Gab and trying to say, okay, well, maybe I'll set up a Gab account because there are some people on there that aren't on Twitter. But I mean, I'm not very tech savvy. I figured Twitter out. It was easy enough. I got it. But I don't know why Gab seems like, for me at least, it is difficult to figure out. I'm trying to kind of think of, how to work it and everything like that, but it's a pain in the butt to say the least.
Yes, I don't really use Gap. I have Gap and Twitter, but I only use them to uh, tweet about my new videos if someone wants to watch them. But these platforms aren't working. So when I see my statistics here on YouTube, less than 1% of my traffic comes from Gap or Minds or Twitter. 99% is from within YouTube, from suggested videos, from stuff like that, or from subscribers. So the other platforms are tiny dwarfs
Yes,
compared to YouTube.
you're absolutely right. I mean, that's kind of the thing. I was looking at my analytics last night, and I mean, yeah, they're definitely not as accurate, I guess, as you'd want them to be. But at the same time, it gives you a general idea. And for me, yeah, 99.9%, just like you, right? It just comes from the YouTube player. That's where my videos are played. And even when people share them on other websites, people still come back here and they still watch them here. They don't necessarily watch the video or the stream on YouTube, things like that. Pardon me.
Yes, we must find a way to survive on this platform. I don't know how long we can manage it. I hope you don't experience it, but I see your channel is growing very fast, so
Yeah,
be prepared to experience it after you reach 1,000 subscribers.
that's what I'm trying to think of ways to prepare, because obviously I'm at almost 400 subscribers, and that level of success I wasn't expecting it, to say the least. Pardon me, my throat. Oh, goodness. But yeah, so that's something that I'm trying to figure out. How will I go about this in terms of alt accounts, in terms of uploading things on BitChute, but obviously a big, I mean, right, my entire channel is streaming. That's especially when you're not tech savvy at all. Streaming is the way to go. I mean, yesterday I had to cut out a part of an interview from a stream I did, and I just did that on the YouTube editor itself. I mean, so that kind of goes to show you my level or lack of tech skills. But it's something that, yeah, we are gonna have to figure out what kind of what to do and how to best address things when one of our people get hit. And so that's definitely something we're going to just try to keep, I guess, keep our brains working towards.
Well, we certainly, I think every one of us needs a backup channel in case something happens, because even if they don't delete your channel, if you get a strike, you cannot stream for 3 months.
Yeah, and that would just be absolute death.
Yes, and building a channel from 0 subscribers is tough. I've done it many times in the past year. But when you already have a channel, it can help you to send subscribers to the secondary channel. That's what I'm doing right now because I'm getting ready. I know it will happen. So I'm already building the next channel.
And you just shouldn't have to do that. And I mean, I know that that's something that, you know, even taking the lessons of what's happened to you, right? I would be stupid not to, you know, either while on this call or right after this call, just immediately start building up an alternate channel, um, and you know, figure out a way to kind of make that happen. I mean, because I've been definitely, you know, some things have happened, you know, in the past day or so, and so I'm trying to kind of think about how to move forward, right? And all I can kind of think is just to keep doing exactly what I'm doing and just try to do it to the, you know, best of my ability. Um, Obviously, there. Okay, so this seems to be a friendly place, and you know, all of your viewers here, all of the people in the chat, there's definitely some crossover between your channel and mine. And so I'm just going to, if you don't mind, something kind of happened yesterday while I was streaming, and it just has to do with a different part of the internet that I really wasn't involved in, but for whatever reason, kind of got caught in the middle of it. And so yesterday, during my stream, someone had found, pardon me, someone had found my docs, and they posted my full name and an address that's very much associated with me into the live chat. I saw it. I immediately delete it, shut the stream down, private the video, things like that. And so I'm trying to figure out exactly, you know, kind of how to go about this, because I don't know what else this person has, what else they're going to be putting out. And you know, I want to, and the thing is, right, obviously, I want to be able to just keep doing what I'm doing. I don't want to have to remove the chat. I like the chat. I like talking with the chat, and I want to be able to leave that up. But at the same time, I really want to make sure that every time I have a chat open, someone is not posting my real name in there, right? Or an address or anything like that. And, you know, because obviously, right, they have my mom's name, things like that. And so kind of trying to figure out how to do that. And I mean, yeah, I get it. When I say that, you know, I do not have a big internet footprint whatsoever, right? I can just say the last, this will give you an idea of how little I was really on the internet before I decided to do this live stream thing, right? Because I was in chats and things like that, but nothing other than that. And the first thing, you know, that is associated is like a MySpace account, right? And that's from over 10 years ago. And so kind of goes to show, like, I really don't have an internet footprint. I made a mistake and something was linked. And so that's how the person, you know, found me and everything. But
So you found your mistake and corrected
I found
it.
my mistake, and unless I go and completely, I'm gonna have to, yeah, I'm gonna have to figure out what to do next in terms of that, because, you know, we all have a regular channel, we all have our regular account, and we have, you know, the things that we do, normal things, right? We pay our bills with, you know, like regular stuff.
Yes.
And you know, so I'm going to have to figure out what to do with that. But I mean, yeah, and the good thing was that it didn't come from anyone in our movement, right? I thought, to be honest, I thought eventually, right, some newspaper, some media corporation, something like that, would find my name and kind of dox me, do that traditional thing that they do, right, the regular way that they do it. But this just happened to be associated to some extent with the internet blood sports community, and my internet association with someone
Oh,
kind of had me on this person's list for a while, I guess, because it was just ready to go. And
sorry, for interrupting you. Let me give you one advice.
yes,
Keep
please.
keep as far away as you can from anyone involved in the blood sports community.
Yeah.
They are cancer. They are not the only cancer, but there are other cancers too near us. But I've deleted all the videos I've had related to them. I've unsubscribed from all these channels because after what happened to my channel with one of these people, I think you know who I'm talking about in the story. And I got a strike, then he removed it. Well, after that, I tried to look at the whole community from the perspective of an outsider. And they are all psychopaths or sociopaths. They are not normal people. So it's better to stay away from them, because if you see, they all the time they are backstabbing each other. So
Yes.
it is normal that they will backstab you too. So just stay away. I stopped even watching them. And I know this will, many of my subscribers will not like this too, but there's a similar cancer in the nationalist community too. Not all, but there are many, many, many backstabbers in there too. So sorry for interrupting you. Continue.
No. Like I am absolutely more than willing to take any advice that anyone has to give in regards to this. And the thing is, in regards to the blood sports community, right? Because I had never like really participated in any blood sports. There were a few streams that I went on. They were smaller channels, right? And it was just something where I used an opportunity given so that I could speak with someone like Ryan Dawson, or go on a stream that had Enoch on there and be able to just kind of go on and make some jokes late at night. But yeah, when it comes to the blood sports, right, I was never involved to whatever extent. I never made enemies. I just kind of, I'd come in, I'd say my stuff, I'd do my thing, and I'd leave again. And the only association that I have had, it's been with, you know, uh, like a couple people that always have been nice to me, and you know, uh, kind of things like that. But yeah, I am kind of seeing it that I don't think I'm going to, be able to continue openly associating with them if this leaves me on anyone's radar and puts the channel, right, the things that I really like doing, at risk. Now, I know that these people, they do. I'm not sure whether they like JF or not. They're just not a fan of any of these things. And I think if JF was a smaller channel, right, and he was a smaller person, then they'd probably be trying to attack him too, to some extent. But yeah, when these people reach a big enough point, normally they're kind of off limits. And yeah, I'd say that JF is the only one even associated with that community, to whatever regard he is now, that I would like to continue to associate with, right? Any chance that I have to go on there and to kind of spread our message to people that maybe don't watch, I think that'd be a great thing. But yeah, when it comes to just the everyday type of e-drama of these other channels, it's that I don't have anything against them. I don't have anything against the content creators, but I don't want anything to do with it. And what was really funny, I had a guest on my show yesterday who was associated with that community, and someone in the chat was getting upset. Hey, why do you have this guy on? I've heard bad things about him. And I said, look, he's always been nice to me. And second of all, I wrote in the chat, this is not a blood sports channel. I'm not involved with blood sports. This is a separate channel. And the very next message in the chat was my docs. And so I just thought it was kind of funny that immediately I'm saying I'm not associated with it. Even if I talk with someone that is involved in that community, it doesn't make me involved with it, right? I'm involved with this person, not the community, not what they do, nothing like that. And I've always tried to make it clear that anytime someone, pardon me, I'm sorry, my voice. Anytime someone wants to come on, right, and they want to have just, and they're honest and they're doing it in good faith, that they're always welcome on. And if someone wants to invite me on their show and they're doing it in good faith, I'll go on there. And that's what I've been trying to do, right? Is just, hey, if someone invites me, I'm going to go on there. We're going to have a fun time. And that is the extent of my involvement, but that's it. But unfortunately, that doesn't seem to be enough separation. If you kind of show up on someone's channel, one time, well, then the association is close enough even. So that's kind of, okay. So, and real fast, Hasdak in the chat is asking what blood sports is. Because, quote, they're a bit slow. Okay, so Hasdak, blood sports it's kind of this new internet community that has formed where you have a lot of it is e-drama stuff. People like, let's see, like the Kumite, kind of a morning stream. But yes, it's mainly just one-on-one debates, but without debate rules. You know what? I'm going to leave it to the chat. The chat is good at explaining this. But yeah, so Poseidon, I mean, I don't know. That's why I do appreciate you giving me the opportunity to kind of explain this, because I wanted to, people were questioning when I took the video or the stream down yesterday, and I didn't, kind of put it back up until late last night. And so, kind of there were some people, kind of wondering where it was, and some people had heard about the doxing. And I just wanted to kind of clear the air, just put out, just the basics of what had happened. And I do appreciate, pardon me, I'm so sorry. I do appreciate you giving me an opportunity on your platform to do so, especially in front of this community of people, right? Our community of people, without any outsiders,
My platform is your platform, always.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
And
The same goes for you. Absolutely.
I'm what I'm doing in the past year. It's I'm trying to contribute to a cause, and I'm trying this from a distance because I'm not near the source. And you are one of the few nice people that I met during this process. Because I met a lot of bad people.
Yeah, it's very easy to meet negative people that put out negative things and are just unhealthy to associate. And I've said this before, I'm so happy that I've been able to meet people like you people like Dingo. I mean, these people that just right off the bat, everyone has you've been so nice to me, and I'm so glad that you see me as a friend as well.
You are one of the few friends I have in this community. Now you talked about your dogs yesterday. I wanted to talk about a subject that affected me in the past few days. Many people are coming out and they're accusing me that I'm not white enough because I'm half Greek.
Jesus Christ.
And it's been happening very, very often, especially in the past few days. And I don't believe in coincidences. So as soon as this stream started, the first comment was about my ethnicity. And in the past days, I go and comment on various videos, and I get replies about my ethnicity and my race. So this is the kind of community I'm struggling in the past year to learn editing, to learn editing video, editing images, editing sound, creating channels. My channels get deleted. I've lost 2 channels in the past year. And every time I try to start from zero. And people who do nothing, they just give negative comments.
So how do I word this? So there are people out there that are one trying to say you're not white enough, which is fucking ridiculous. And I'm going to be nice because I am on Poseidon's stream. I am his guest, and I am going to be nice. But so you're noticing the same type of people kind of coming on and making comments about your ethnicity in reply to something that it has nothing to do with?
Yes. This stream, as soon as I started it, one unknown person came in and commented about my ethnicity before the stream started.
I mean, and obviously there's going to be the one big piece of advice, right? Of ignore them, right? Don't respond to them. Do not feed them. Do not give them any air to breathe.
Oh, I I know how to handle hate because before I came to YouTube, I was on Facebook, and I was on Facebook for many years, and I was a social media political expert. So I've done campaigns for political parties. I've taken political parties from zero and skyrocketed them. So I know social media. This is what I do for many years.
I didn't know that.
I have made political parties. I have organized the biggest rallies in Greece. I've done a lot of things, and one day I just decided that Facebook is cancer, and the Greek political scene is also cancer. So I deleted my Facebook account and I stopped even watching Greek news. But before this happened, I've had tens of thousands of haters every day going against me. And I wasn't an anonymous profile. I had my name and my picture, and they knew who I was. I got death threats every day. So one idiot from the other side of the planet talking about my ethnicity is nothing when I've had thousands of people in my own country knowing where I live and giving me death threats. But I'm disappointed.
Yeah,
I'm disappointed.
that's
I'm disappointed because I really I cannot judge the the quality of what I do. I leave this to my viewers, but I really try to learn and improve and create something that is effective. Because an idiot with a Nazi flag talking about the Holocaust does not persuade anyone. He does not help our movement in any way. In order to convince normie people, and I know this because this is what I do propaganda for many years. You need to present a normie message. You cannot use the normie flag, the Nazi flag. You cannot talk about Hitler. You cannot even talk about National Socialism. These things are wonderful. With most of these things, I agree, but they are only to jerk off between us in a small circle. You cannot share these things on Facebook and convince your co-workers or your cousins or your aunt. But my videos, you can share them on Facebook, you can show them to a co-worker, you can show them to your father. Am I...
no, and
I don't know, does it make any meaning what I say?
no, it does. I wanted to make sure that I didn't actually interrupt you. Sometimes I have a little habit of that once in a while, but no, I do think that you are correct. Now, if people want to have those beliefs in private and they want to have those flags in private, unfortunately, I mean, because what did Rockwell do? The reason why Rockwell, and this was in his own words, the reason why George Lincoln Rockwell flew the Nazi flag on the front of his house, wore the armband and wore the pins and just the full uniform as well, is because he wanted to get attention, right? He wanted to get the eyes and the ears of people to say, whoa, 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 what is that guy? What is he doing? And then he could give his message, right? His message that would be separate from the actual flag. And obviously he was an American Nazi party, but it was just mainly the American National Socialist Party. But the problem is, unfortunately, things have changed between the 60s and now, right? In the 60s, they were what, not even 20 years removed at certain points from, the war, right? The anti-Nazi sentiment, it wasn't as strong, it wasn't as drilled into our heads. There were a lot more people that either, completely supported that movement, came from that movement, or understood what Rockwell was trying to convey, right? He wasn't trying to say, let's be Germans, let's have a party from 1933. It wasn't about that, right? They understood that this is a pro-white anti-Jewish movement to some extent, and he wanted to get their attention. Unfortunately, and if I really did think that it would work and it would get any attention that we could exploit, right? Even if it's not good attention, of course it's not going to be good, right? The media is run by a certain group, and they're never going to give us a fair shake in honest representation. But the only problem is that we are working and we're trying to convince people that have been repeatedly programmed and indoctrinated that the Nazi, World War II was only about one thing. It was about Nazis gassing the Jews. There was nothing else. There was no Weimar. There was no communism. You know what I mean, right? There was nothing that would explain it or excuse it to people nowadays. And I guess, go ahead.
But the thing is that someone who thinks that Israel is our greatest ally, you cannot go straight and tell him, you know what? This and that happened during World War II, and everything they've told you is a lie. If you do this, he will think you are crazy, he will reject your message. You must do the red pilling in stages. And this particular subject is the last stage. So by talking about this subject, you are convincing no one. You are just getting a few likes from people that don't need to be convinced because they already know about it. So you are not adding value, you are not helping the cause in no way. You are doing nothing.
Well, and even just to give people kind of maybe an idea of what, especially I can speak for American citizens, right? So what American citizens think, what American politicians think. Now, everyone, I'm sure they've heard, right, that the Iran deal has been scrapped. Trump scrapped that. Well, one of our congressmen, and he's a Texas congressman, Louis Gohmert, right? He sent out a tweet saying how Donald Trump's action today means that Iran can and should be stopped before they can usher in a new Holocaust. Thank you, President Trump. Right? So he said that the reason why we had to stop Iran was before that they usher in a new Holocaust against Israelis in Israel. And what I responded was, quote, usher in a new Holocaust, end quote. Seriously? Come on. Please focus on the Holocaust of white middle-class Americans. That is the job you are elected to do. Thank you. Right? I mean, so the thing is, I could have absolutely said, the Holocaust, it didn't actually happen that way. There have already been multiple, Holocausts recorded. It's always 6 million. There weren't really 6 million Jews. But I thought, okay, no. Instead of having a point of contention, which I do have in regards to the Holocaust, I'm going to point out that this man's job is to focus on the, quote, Holocaust that is happening to white Americans, right? And whether I had to say, okay, well, I can't just say whites because they won't understand that. So I'm going to say white middle class. But nonetheless, just altering the message a little bit, able to get, I was able to still get my point out across without fully cucking, I guess you'd say, right? And I guess that's kind of, figuring out how we do this, right? How do we keep the message the same, but make it in the most appealing way possible? Sorry about that. Someone's car alarm is going off.
It's okay. So.
Okay, there we go.
I think we must work in stages. So the first stage is to understand that to make people understand that we are under attack, because many people don't know this, because maybe they live in a part of the world, or in a village or a city that is 99% white, so they have no idea what is happening on a bigger scale. And
That is very true.
how many know? How many white? We are 1 billion white people on the planet. How many know about what is happening tonight in South Africa? 1%, 2%, not more. They don't know it. And they don't know that what is happening tonight in South Africa will happen to their children in 20, 30 or 40 years. So this is the important message.
Well, and I think that's one of the big things, right? I mean, we have an illness that has completely, it's like a cancer, right? But it's metastasized. Now it's spreading out, and it's affecting all of the white Western countries. It's affecting, and South Africa, right? Well, that's the part where, we're seeing it, affect the body the worst, right? That's one of the limbs, that's one of the organs that is being affected the worst. And also in Europe, right? I mean, there are all of these symptoms that we're, of this disease that we're seeing. And of course, we really want to provide people with with the cure, with the solution. But the first thing that we have to get people to understand is that they are sick, right? There is a sickness. And we have to be able to diagnose this illness and explain this illness to people before they will even be open to, working on the cure. So even if National Socialism is the cure, right, we still have to be able to articulate our points when it comes to explaining a greater white genocide, a genetic replacement, the fact that demographics are destiny, all of these little things. But we can't simply just say, hey, there's a white genocide going on, and have people believe us. Unfortunately, that's not the case. I mean, unless they are already in our group, in which they don't need convincing. I do agree with Poseidon that we are going to have to address this in stages. And the first stage to battling any illness is to get the diagnosis correct. Only then can you start to work on the cure. Because only when you understand what it is can you really properly understand what the cure should be.
We have an illness because there are things that we do wrong. So we are ill, but we are also have someone who is contributing to our illness, who probably started it, or even if he didn't start this illness, he is trying to make us more sick. And our listeners know about who I'm talking about. So these are two subjects, and we must make our people understand that the way they live is self-destructive. This is the one part, and the other part is that someone is brainwashing them to live this way.
That's exactly
yes.
true.
We must do both things at the same time. But so it's already a complicated task to make people understand that social media are cancer. Degeneracy is destroying you. Not finding a partner and making children is the end of our race. So, there are many things that people must understand, and then they must also understand that someone influenced them to live this way. So the task is already enormous. Adding to this task historical lies makes it even more complicated and difficult. That's why I never bothered making content about the past.
Well, and that's one of the reasons why I really like the idea of streaming, right? I like the idea of having a whole bunch of people on because there are so many aspects. You know, there are so many facts, you know, like facets of this and factions of this movement. There are people that are really, really well educated in the past, right? Like yesterday, we had Thomas Goodrich on, and he is very educated in, you know, World War II atrocities, especially against the German or the Japanese people. And so, right, we can bring him on and we can pick his brain, and we can also discuss the things currently happening to our people. But then, you know, the next day we can bring someone on that is just educated in the tech field and maybe can, you know, help explain to our young men what's the best way to get into that field and get a job so that they can have a nice white family and provide for them and so forth. You know, I mean, because there are so many different aspects of this, we are going to have to get all of our people that have all of these different skills and these different levels of intelligence with these topics and just start to bring them all together, because we're never going to be the greatest at everything, right? We're going to hope to be very good, very, very good at everything, and bring people that are great at those one things and bring them in and start to make connections that way. And I think, you know, because obviously, right, the way that things happened in the past are very good for us to keep in mind and use as a learning tool for how we should operate now, or you know, maybe what certain things or tricks will be used against us, how this movement will try to be torn down. And so I think that there are, you know, and that's how we see it, right? We are kind of this collective of all of these, you know, we're a collective of individuals, right? And you know, I mean, if we wanted to talk about, you know, kind of where Greece falls in something like this, I would want Poseidon on. If Poseidon wanted to maybe see where America falls in all this, he'd want to have an American like myself on. But no matter what, right, and no matter how we differ with each other, pardon me, we still want to be able to keep these contacts, right, and start to develop these friendships, because we will only be able to fully understand things or address things as a whole when we do work together. And it's going to be so much harder to convince people that there is only one thing that needs to be done, or that there is only one person that can explain this or save us. And yeah, I mean, so I was just kind of touching on that a little bit.
Yes, you are certainly right. We must we must help each other because we're in a tough spot, especially here on YouTube.
So let's see. Chat, what are you talking about? Someone is saying, where have all of Poseidon's videos gone? Why do I only see 2? That's IVM in the chat. Explain that to Ivy.
Yes, because this is not my main channel. This is my secondary channel. There are 2 Poseidon channels, and they have the same name and the same avatar. The one channel has my videos, my primary channel, which cannot stream, and this is my secondary channel that is for streaming only.
Oh, there you go. Well, see, You thought you were going to have a bad day and only know that one Poseidon existed. But your day just got a little better. You found out that at least 2 Poseidons exist in this world. And he will always be there.
Yes, the world needs many Poseidons.
We need as many Poseidons as we can get. Actually, I mean, even if we just took this whole chat, everything, everyone, and we just multiplied them by 10, we'd be on a great path forward. Let's see. Oh, there we go. She says, "Oh, thank goodness." Oh, okay. Todd Whelan in the chat says, "Kayla, were you a feminist?" No, I was never a feminist. I never, and it goes along with kind of where I've always stood when it comes to race realism. I always thought it was a given. In terms of, I always thought, well, of course the races are different, right? And then when it came to women, right, I thought, well, of course men and women are different. Of course they serve different roles, and of course they're not interchangeable. I always that's something I always assumed when feminism really came on the scene, like what, in 2015, 2016. It was the most ugly representation of women I've ever seen. It was an embarrassment. I thought all of them should be ashamed of themselves. I thought all of them really needed to, just take that color out of their hair, take those piercings out of their face, put on a nice dress, go meet a nice man, and they'll be lucky enough if they can find someone that will let them make them a sandwich. Because they were acting like absolute animals. They were complaining about things and wanting to be let into these movements, whether it was gaming with Gamergate, and we'll use that as an example, right? They wanted to get in. They wanted to be let into the boys' club, right? Where, let's try to take every last place where young men can just have fun with other young men. So they get let in there. And then they start asking for special privileges. Right? But oh no, we're just like you. We just want the same things, right? It's all about equality, isn't it? Of course not. Right? Because when you have two people are never equal. I mean, that was something that it's definitely irritated me. So to answer your question, Todd Whelan, no. I was never a feminist. I could never get behind that. I mean, I did have a point where I was thinking, well, okay, I mean, second wave feminism, maybe that's okay, I guess. But the thing is, nope. At first, I wouldn't even have cared. I wouldn't have cared about the women's suffragettes or anything like that, the suffrage movements. I wouldn't have cared about second wave feminism or even the sexual revolution. I thought, whatever, right? To each their own. They're not coming into my house. They're not trying to tell me how to do things. They're not trying to get into the state and have these, kind of state-forced policies. But they didn't, right? They didn't leave it at that. And they will never, and this goes with any movement that you see like feminism, they will never be happy. They will never be satisfied, and they will never stop. And so the thing is, right? Nope. Women votes? Nope. If anything, we go back to a family vote, and we have a military male vote. And then when it comes to the sexual revolution, I think all forms of female birth control should just be gotten rid of completely. We shouldn't have any state aid given to women so that they can just be sexually promiscuous, bring young children into the world, and no longer have any sense of responsibility or accountability. I think the sexual revolution, it made it where we took one of the most precious acts for our reproduction, and we completely made it the most dirty, vile, selfish thing that first world nations could ever do to themselves. I don't think, men and women aren't equal. And if we keep trying to force this unnatural balancing act to continue, that's only going to cause harm to us and our children. I'm sorry about that. Go ahead. That was a little rant.
No, you're right. You can keep going.
Well, I mean, that was something that I don't believe I've ever really addressed, and so I'm glad that I was able to address that here today.
Johnny Gaines is in the chat and is asking for the link.
Oh my goodness, I haven't spoken to Dingo since he became Mr. and Mrs. Dingo. I would love to be able to say hi to him. Have you spoken to him since his big day?
No, I haven't spoken. So keep on talking because I must
All
find
right.
I
All right, Chad.
find the link.
Rant about? Let's see. I mean, and I'll wait for the lag to catch up. But when it comes to these things, right? And we see this so often. I understand where people they get nervous or they're concerned or they get angry about women entering any movement, and we can use the national, kind of the nationalist movement, the internet movements, and so forth. Was that if we just, I get it, right? We can't have women coming on and talking about, high ideals and finding out that they're not what they preach, right? That's a big problem. And I understand why people would be very upset about that. Or to have women come on and say, no, I'm one of the guys. I can totally handle being on the internet. And then some trolling happens and they start crying about it and they say, well, no, you're supposed to treat me different. You're supposed to treat me like a lady. And my rule when it comes to women is that I think it this way. If women treat themselves with respect, they do deserve your respect. Absolutely. Because just like if you treat yourself with respect, if a male or a man walks around and he's respectful, he's respectable, I think he absolutely deserves all the respect in the world. And so that part, that works both ways. But if they are trying to say, no, I can totally take it, come at me, I'm never going to, play the victim. Well, and then if they do play the victim, I can understand where a lot of angry, kind of a lot of anger, a lot of resentment would come in. And I mean, I think that, the internet, especially right in nationalist movements and so forth, that is a male dominated area. And that's why I always like to make sure that I make it very clear, I never want to be a leader of this. I don't think I have to worry about that, but you know what I mean, right? I never want to be a leader of this. I am here in a supportive role because that's the role that women are supposed to play. That is a natural role. And we shouldn't, because there are a few women, and maybe there are more than I would like to think there are, or more than I would like to admit that there are, but just because there are women that clearly cannot adhere to those natural roles, we shouldn't shut the door completely from anyone wanting to come in when they are really willing to play by those rules. I think we would have, I think it would, obviously, it would lead to nothing but success, right? If you guys treated a woman that, if you treated a woman that, say, acted like me, with the amount of respect that you have treated me with, I don't see how anyone could ever say anything but the fact that this is one of the nicest, most welcoming communities on the internet, that we really are a community, right? It's not just that we all like the same memes or anything like that, but I think that, once we understand that we are different, and as long as, women don't try to mess up that balance, then they absolutely should serve their place. And just like men that want to, come in and they're beta cucks, or they try to, white knight for another nation or another race. Yeah, those people, they deserve to be treated with the respect, that they deserve, even if that's no respect at all. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. So that's kind of those are kind of my opinions on things. I think that I think that we're, right now, one of the big things we're struggling to get back to a balanced state. And I always reference the natural order. I understand that, but it's the best term that, because it's the most honest term. Right? It's the most accurate term.
Yes, because now our life is basically going against our nature, the way we are living.
Exactly. That's absolutely it, right? I mean, and I've said this before that nationalists like ourselves, right? We adhere to nature. We respect nature. Um,
I'm not a nationalist, so
well,
don't speak.
you're not a nationalist.
No, no.
Oh, okay. Well, how would you describe yourself then?
I've said it many times, and oh, I just got. What did I get?
What? What?
An alert.
What's up?
uh, I've got Streamlamps and I've got an alert, and I don't know what this alert was about. So, I'm not a nationalist. I am against the anti-white people. I am pro-white, but not in a way like white supremacy.
Oh, of course.
I feel that there is a racist movement going on against white people, and I am against this movement. But I don't feel because nationalist, I think, is someone that is cares about his nation. Well, I don't care about my nation because there is nothing, there is no important problem at the moment for my nation. We don't have the problems that I see in other countries. I live in Greece, and the only problem we have is that we are poor. But I feel that other countries have much more bigger problems. Being poor is not the end of the world. You can live poor. 90% of the people on this planet are poor, and they live, they love, they make families, they make babies, and they multiply. Those rich nations have the problem. A problem that will make them extinct very soon. So no, I'm not a nationalist because I don't care about my nation. I care about the entire race. And when I say race, I'm not talking about a specific skin tone. I'm talking of the people that are Europeans or come from Europe, are of European descent. So I'm talking about Europeans, Americans, Canadians, Afrikaners, and Australians. Those people that are currently 10% of the world, and maybe they don't have exactly the same skin color, and there are a few variations in this 10%. But if you take this 10% as a group, you will see that this entire group has the same problem. And the problem is, in 100 years, there won't be left any of them. Like the dinosaurs. There were many variations of dinosaurs, but they all disappeared. And that is what is happening with this group. So, personally, it doesn't affect me, because when they disappear, I will be long gone. And my country is the last that will be affected, because it is one of the poorest, and the problems are attracted like a magnet to the rich countries. The richer a country is, the most, the bigger the problem. Am I making sense?
Yes, no, absolutely. And I do use the term nationalist as a bit of an umbrella term for ethno nationalists, white nationalists, and I mean maybe I should say pro-white advocates or
Define
but
white. If you say pro-white, you must define white. Dingo, welcome. Can you hear us?
welcome, Dingo.
Hey guys, I hope that the truck is not providing a ton of background noise.
No,
No, no, we can hear you clearly.
It's okay. Okay, I've got the I'm in a diesel truck, so I was just hoping that it wasn't too loud in the background. But how are y'all doing?
we're doing well. Look at, I mean, Poseidon, he's back online. Kayla is still online, but I think we're more curious about you, Dingo. How are you, Dingo, and how is the new Mrs. Dingo?
Well, we went on our honeymoon, and it was a very liberal, progressive city. And I've got to say, I've had a bit of a change of heart on some of the things that I used to believe.
Uh
Well, yeah, I mean, guys, just think about it. A lot of the stuff that we talk about, and I used to think it's kind of antiquated, isn't it? I mean, are there really just two genders? I'm not sure anymore. Uh,
oh.
yeah, I mean, I went to this place, and I mean, it was like 97% white. I saw like 4 or 5 black people in a week, but that has nothing to do with how nice it was. There could have been black people there, and it would have been fine.
That's why it was so pretty and safe, and everyone could be focused on whether there's 70 or 72 genders.
No, 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 no. That's not why. It's just a coincidence that it was almost all white.
Oh man, I mean, that's the thing, right? I mean, well, because I know when you like become racist or conservative in any way, your brain actually shrinks, and so sometimes I have a hard time understanding these the way that the world really is. And it always boils down to race or numbers or, population types. And I'm sorry. I mean, I figured that, you know what, maybe I need to, maybe, when I have my honeymoon, maybe I should go to the same place so that I can become awakened to the way the world really is.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I was going to say next was about this whole racist thing. Uh, I mean, is it really right? We kind of are just all citizens of the universe, are we not? You Nazis are always talking about going to space. Well, what happens when you go to space? You become a citizen of the universe.
Oh, whoa. Whoa. Dude, don't drop too many blue pills on me at once. I mean, I don't know if I can. Gosh, chat, have you ever heard Dingo this just woke before? Cuz
That's a
I
racist
don't know
term.
what was in that fresh spring or fresh creek water that you've been lapping up, but
That's cultural appropriation. Okay, woke was invented by black people, just like thought, and we white people just will not stop stealing. Okay, I can't do this anymore.
are
I'm done. Oh God. Okay, how?
you
So
okay?
anyway, yeah, yeah. I feel all greasy now, but
Yeah.
that's probably because I've got Italian in me. I'm sure, just natural.
You,
But
you're half black like me then.
yeah, exactly. Oh shit. But no, the honeymoon was great. We went to Charleston, South Carolina, and
Oh,
the,
nice.
yeah, the demographics of the whole town are not that great. But like downtown where we stayed, there was no black people, none. There were college girls walking down dark alleys in very skimpy clothes, and they were fine. Like we walked down the same dark alleys, and I felt completely safe because I couldn't smell any black people around me, so I knew it was safe. It was fantastic.
Now that is what I call a honeymoon.
Oh, I did. We did nothing the entire time but eat great food, uh, make love like white people do with eye contact and shit. And we went and saw a bunch of historic stuff. One of the things we saw was what do you call a plantation museum? It was like you could take a tour of the plantation, and there was not an ounce of the white guilt mobile at this place. You would think there would be, but no, they were nothing but proud of their history, and it was so refreshing. Guys, I fucking hate Louisiana. Like I've always said, it's a shithole, but I never realized that other places could be not shitholes. But it's possible. Places can be nice.
That's
Then, Dingo, if you come to Greece, you will love it because uh, there are no black people here. The only black people here are the Greeks.
Yeah, there's either no black people or it's all black people.
We are the blackest people here.
Am I cutting out or anything, guys?
No, no, you're fine.
Okay. Well, so yeah, I've been listening to the stream. I've enjoyed it. This is top-notch stuff. But no, I'm being. Well, I don't know why you laughed. I'm not kidding. I'm being for real. Take the compliment. Damn. No, but about the women in the movement thing, yeah, I kind of have to agree with Kayla. Um, no, women should not be running anything, and nobody's saying that. But we have to get women to stop acting like whores, and just like how we're trying to get men to stop acting like faggots. Oh, I'm sorry. Can I say faggot?
Yes, yes, you can say anything.
it's satire.
I'll get a strike either way.
No, it's
Oh, I'm
only
sorry.
satire.
No,
We're
no, I'm joking. I'm joking.
racist thing.
I'm joking.
Yeah.
You can say anything.
Well, so like, yeah, we're trying to get men to stop acting like women, and we've got to get women to stop acting like whores, and they're not gonna listen to you, men, because they have daddy issues already. Okay, so if anybody's gonna help them change, it's gonna be another woman.
Yeah, and I mean, look, I think hey, any people that we can bring on over to our side that'll encourage women to be good, strong, and subservient, right? Not subdued in the way that this media has tried to make them, but actually and naturally subservient. And they will only be subservient, right, to strong men, to men that demand respect and deserve respect. And I think that, it's going to be two sides of the same coin. And we're going to need women that treat themselves and act with respect so that we can actually give it to them and have it be appropriate. Right? It's not about just giving them respect because they have boobs and you don't. It's about, because they carry themselves in a certain way. And it's the same thing for men.
Yeah, my wife and I had our first argument 2 nights ago because we were talking about. I don't even know how we got on the subject, but it came at like something came up about men like not beating their wives, but like literally it's called wife spanking, and I'm all for it and all against it. And so she kept saying these things to me like, I just can't believe that you're sitting here saying this and you're being serious. She's like, are you trolling me? I said, okay, first, babe, stop using trolling. Okay, you hear me say it doesn't mean you can say it. But we had this long discussion. Like, yes, listen, if a woman is willing to throw away her entire family, like let's say they have 3 kids together, and she's going to ruin those children's lives because she wants to go out and make cummies, right? Have an affair. Yeah, I would most definitely rather a husband literally just, take a belt to his wife's ass a couple of times than let her go ruin the entire family that's going to screw those kids up for life. You're damn right. It's a better option for her to get a whipping like when she was a kid. I mean, but like she wouldn't listen whenever I was saying like, obviously you can't punch your wife. You can't hit her in the stomach. You can't sit there and leave a ton of bruises on her like that. That's kind of shit that you would throw somebody in jail for. But you remember the rule of thumb, right? And where that came from?
Yeah. Yeah. Right?
Poseidon, do
If
you
a
know where that
switch
came
is
from?
bigger
No,
than your
no, I don't know this.
oh, you got a red list Poseidon on the old rule of thumb.
Oh, okay. I will red worm him. I'll red rash him.
Oh my goodness. That's how out of it I am.
I'm gonna ringworm you on this.
You better
So
red thumb him on this.
so like what it meant, it's a saying here, if something is a constant or a standard, you say, oh, well, the rule of thumb when changing your oil is blah blah blah. That comes from an old law that said you could, you could spank your wife or hit your wife. Now they say beat, but that's not what the law said. That you could use any kind of object that was not wider than your thumb, to paddle your wife with. I mean, just think about the era that was going on in. Everything was great. Like, literally, if we could get our women under control, then everything else falls into place. We don't need to do anything else. It all starts with women. So, like, okay, how am I trying to say this? There's a dichotomy here. And that dichotomy is like, no, women should not be running anything and all this and that. But they are the most important resource on Earth. And that makes them extremely valuable. And so you have to deal with them in a very specific way. And I don't think that even when the rule of thumb was legal, hardly anybody used it because women acted differently, which made them happier, which in turn had this cycle of them not acting up. You know what I'm saying? And everybody's happy. So we're just in the exact opposite cycle right now.
Well, I mean, maybe instead of using a stick or a switch, maybe like an open palm, spank.
No, you're biased. You're
I
biased.
am, I say so. I should be biased. But no,
Yeah.
I do agree that, right, if we are not, and this goes to the wider solution or the wider problem, right? If we are not punishing bad behavior, then obviously, I mean, sometimes by not discouraging something, you are in turn encouraging it. Not with everything, right? There are certain things that we shouldn't have to say, well, you technically didn't outright disavow, so you must be all for it. It's not about that, but it is about if someone acts badly and there is, no consequence, right? They're not made to take responsibility. They're not accountable for their actions. Then, of course, that's going to be a big issue.
Yeah,
My
yeah. I
echoing.
mean, punishment has to come into it at some point. And like, I just want to clarify here. Like, you can't just go spanking your wife because you had an argument. Okay, that's not an argument ender. We're talking about like life and family ending behavior. Not because she brought you supper cold, which white men are not going to whip their wives for this shit anyways.
That's true.
Yeah, I mean, we're not the ones who bury women up to their shoulders and stone them to death, because their ankles showed. So, like, this is a last resort, like, no doubt about it. And anybody caught abusing this rule would be subject to what I like to call a circle of death, where everybody just gets around this guy and beats the shit out of him. And I promise you, he'll never abuse that rule again. But that leads me to another point. I would like to say, at the plantation, here's a little story that just warms my heart so much. Okay, now this woman who was given the tour told us, like, if you'll notice on the porch, there's no stairway that leads directly to the front door. You have to go to either side. And she said, does anybody know why that is? And we were all like, no. So she said that is because if it was improper back then for a woman's ankles to show under her dress. So while she was coming up the stairs, she would do it from the side so the man at the front door would not see her ankles. And then she said the rule of, I was about to say rule of thumb, sorry. The rule back then was if a man did see a woman's ankles by accident, and I was thinking at that moment, I was like, oh God, here comes the feminist bullshit. She's going to say that they beat her or something. Well, no, that's not what she said. She said if a man saw a woman's ankles by accident back then, he would instantly propose marriage to her. Now, she did not have to accept, but that was what they did back then in that polite society. It was to save her honor. You see what I'm saying? And it just goes to show how different we are than Hajis, who, like I said, stone their women to death whenever their eyelashes come out.
Wow. Well, and I mean, I was, I was peeking at the chat, because anytime that, wife beating in any respect of it, right, is discussed, it can be off-putting for some people, and I understand that. Trust me, I completely understand that. I mean, I don't even. I get a little upset, like if my guy yells at me for that one, the one time out of the year. I'm like, kind of, I know that, I did something wrong. And
Oh, that's how my wife is.
it does encourage, it does kind of encourage better. It discourages at least the bad behavior. It lets you know that, this person is, they're really serious, right? We're not joking around or anything. And for the record, he doesn't yell at me. Like, that's why I really said the once a year thing, because it really is a once a year thing. And you better believe I really do deserve it. But I'm good at pushing buttons. Let's say that. But the thing is, I mean, it's I understand that, being a traditional, and IVM is saying this in the chat, being a traditional woman does not mean being treated like a child by their husbands. I absolutely agree. And all we're trying to do here is discuss to some way, how do we get that back? Right? How do we get it back where, women are no longer acting like petulant children, pardon me. I think that's definitely one of the things where we're trying to just figure out how do we get women acting like respectable women and men acting like respectable men. And
yeah, well, what I just want to clarify real quick. I would never ever say that woman beating was okay. Like, this is not woman beating. If you beat your wife, like, you deserve to be beat twice as badly yourself, no doubt about it. But like, I can't really feel a lot of sympathy for women who are terrified over this spanking, only in the case of like adultery. Like, if you cheat on your husband, I'm sorry, you deserve a little ass whipping, okay? And I don't feel sympathy for somebody telling me that that's not appropriate, when in today's world, if a woman says, hey, I'm on birth control, but she's not, and you get her pregnant, you're trapped for 18 years to pay for the child that you'd never get to see because she hates you, right? Because the laws let that happen. And if you don't pay, you go to jail, where guess what? You get even more sex, except for this time it comes in the back door and you don't want it. So I do not think that people, whenever they talk about this, women especially, they immediately come at this from an emotional perspective. And I can understand that. But I'm just saying, let's talk it out first before it gets there, because I'm only talking about like adultery here, or maybe like if that's all I can really think of that would warrant this.
Well, adultery, extreme neglect of the children, of herself, of the marriage, something where clearly they are not seeing straight anymore.
I don't even think that. I think basically just because if any of the other stuff is happening, something's happening that spanking her is not going to fix. You know what I'm saying? I think it should be just for adultery, and there might be a couple of things that I'm not thinking of right now, but neglect and all that is not. I wouldn't include that. I would say just adultery at this point.
I think that in the case of adultery, this wouldn't help. The right move is to leave her.
Well, that solves nothing, though.
In case of adultery, you already have lost your trust. So, what can you continue doing with this woman if you cannot trust her?
Well, let's say you find some text messages planning adultery. It hasn't happened yet. How about you beat her ass then? And then it might take you a year to get over it before you're not mad anymore.
I would break her phone and cut the internet access.
What? Okay. Well.
I would deny her accessing the internet and the phone, but I would not hit her because by hitting her, then it will come back to you like a boomerang. Even after 5 or 10 years, she will say to you that, do you remember when you were hitting me? So it will turn against you. I think hitting and violence is not the solution, either with the women or because it's the same as with children. Hitting a child won't help it.
I agree with that. I mean, I think that one of the things that would really help us not need something so extreme, right, would be to, and this would require us to have a sense of actual community, right? But if a woman was planning on cheating on her husband, or she had cheated on her husband, the community would shame them. I mean, profusely shame them. People would not want to talk with them. People would not want to do business with them. They would not want to be in the same room or sit in the seat next to them. And women, being very, very social creatures, right? We would respond to that. There would be kind of all of these signs coming in saying your behavior is not acceptable. It is not acceptable in this community, and no one will want to associate with someone who engages in that unacceptable behavior. And I do agree that, obviously, yeah, if you ever hit a woman, right, if she stays with you, that I don't even know if she would do that. Two, the court systems, right, they're not in your favor whatsoever, to say the least. But then also, she never forgets, right? Like, if a woman ever
No,
feels like you've wronged her, we have a memory like an elephant, like one of those old matriarchal elephants. No joking around.
well, you don't like. You guys keep saying hit a woman. Like, I'm not. Of course, I'm not talking about punching. You can't hit a woman about the face. You can't manhandle her like that. That's not what I'm talking about. And I am LARPing here. We're talking about a very hypothetical patriarchal society where courts would not, throw you in jail for spanking your wife. But the thing is, like, when it was illegal, because wife spanking was perfectly fine for, I don't know, all of human history up until pretty recently. And the thing is, like, whenever it was legal and whenever it was an option, it was a deterrent, and it wasn't used that much. It was hardly ever used. That's why it's not a very common part of our, like, histories or stories or whatever. A lot of people don't even know that it was legal for a very long time because it didn't happen a lot. And Poseidon, whenever you said that hitting a child doesn't help it, well, I would have to just disagree with you because, like, growing up, whenever I really messed up, and it took a good bit. I would get grounded first and this and that. But if I continued, the red belt came out, right? And that was my dad's work belt. And I would get a whipping. And, he wouldn't draw blood, obviously, but it hurt like a bitch. And that belt was the ultimate deterrent and kept me from doing a lot of stuff that I really wanted to do.
Well, I mean, that always worked for me, right? My parents didn't, they didn't, use any form of physical punishment. I was hit with a belt one time, and I mean, see, like an elephant, I never forget. And just the threat alone of the belt was way more powerful than getting hit with the belt, right? And I guess that's the thing. If you need to use any type of physical force, I guess you'd say, right, against your child, is it done so that the threat of that force is the motivating factor and not the constant use of that force? That would be my question. Now, I think, like, a little spanking or something, that's one thing, but I don't know. I guess, right, I'm a woman. I'm different. And when it comes to, how my children will be punished. It certainly will not just be my decision. And I guess that's always the thing, right? But it's different in a marriage because you're the only person there. You don't consult like your best friend and you say, hey, okay, well, like, should I, should I hit my wife? Like she was going to do this. Do you think I should do an open palm spank, or do you think I should kind of get a little branch from the backyard and give her a little,
There are many instructional videos about the subject if you on YouTube from Muslim women. I've seen videos where they explain Sharia and which ways of punishing your wife are proper. So maybe Islam, this great religion, can teach us some useful things.
Well, I was talking to someone last night, and I guess they know some imam, and I thought, oh, that could be a good discussion, right? Bringing an imam on and talking about Sharia, right? Kind of educating ourselves, right? As good young white Americans, or Europeans, as good whites, right? Maybe educating ourselves on what these people really do, because especially on top of it, we've heard the white Sharia meme used a lot and referenced a lot. I think it would be very interesting to get an imam's perspective on the idea of other non-Islamic people using Sharia or things like that. I don't know, but that just reminded me of that last night. But yeah, so, I mean, I think that I don't think we should be taking any advice from Islamic people ever. Like, no. But it's always interesting to hear what they really think and what they have to say, and it's a good kind of reinforcing tactic that what we're doing is right, and what we may not always know what we're doing. We may not always have the best ideas at the best time, but we can certainly know that there are certain things that we're not doing, and that is right.
Well, maybe what they are doing, maybe it's not right by our standards, but it is effective.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because they are multiplying and we are getting fewer and fewer. So even if it's unethical, it's not right, but it is effective. We must admit that.
Oh, definitely. And I think, one of the mistakes we make, and that comes with Muslims, with blacks, other people, is that we have our own ethical standards. And so we try to kind of place those standards on those people, whether they're in their country, right? Like the classic thing of bringing democracy to the Middle East. Or we assume that when third worlders come into our first world nations, that they will adhere to our ethical standards, our way of conducting ourselves, and the way that we treat our family, the way that we operate within the community, things like that. But yeah, I mean, I think that Sharia most likely does really work for these people, because when you have lower IQ, and it's the same way why dictatorships work really well in the Middle East, because there are, people, and when they have lower IQs, when they have more impulse control, they're prone to violence, whatever it is, that, that is a language that they understand. They do absolutely understand the language of violence, and that's not something that we as Europeans do. That's what I
Now that you said dictatorship, I thought that in the Middle East, especially the Americans, are trying for decades now to impose democracy. And this is one of the biggest mistakes, because all this region was functioning normally for hundreds of years with dictatorship, And by imposing democracy, you destroy the natural order there. So even though we think democracy is better than dictatorship, sometimes dictatorship is more effective. And sometimes
Absolutely.
you need dictatorship.
Well, and we saw that with, Iraq. Libya being one of the best examples. You look at Libya under Gaddafi, right? And not only were they successful at that time, right? But the way that they were trending, they were going to be a very successful, very independent nation. And democracy is kind of being touted as this, or touted as this one size fits all government plan. And it's simply not the case, right? But it's kind of our Western ego to some extent, right? That like we know what's best for everyone else, and yeah, it's funny because all of these laws and the way that these people act. Oh well, that's completely inappropriate for them, right? To act that way in their countries. But then when we bring them here, like somehow kind of this aggressive, violent, terroristic, uh, kind of way that they, a theocratic way that they go about things. Well, that's somehow acceptable. That's their culture. And it's wrong for us to try to impose our culture on them while they're here in our countries. But we have no problem imposing our culture on them while they're in their own countries, where they could absolutely exercise whatever forms of government or social standards they want.
Now that you mentioned Gaddafi, I watched a video a few days ago and I included a clip of it in one of my videos this week, where Julian Assange from WikiLeaks said that the overthrowing Gaddafi was actually Hillary Clinton's decision. That bitch is responsible for this.
Hillary Clinton, while she was Secretary of State, absolutely was planning that. One of her associates, Max Blumenthal, he's also someone. So if you're looking into this, Max Blumenthal would definitely be one of the guys you'd want to look into in these email chains, along with Podesta, of course.
Yes, and by overthrowing Gaddafi, they opened the gates for Africa, from Africa to Europe. Because
Well, and Gaddafi did actually warn us. He said, "If you take me out of power, if you take me out of power, Europe will turn black."
yes, yes, he said it, and it is becoming true. Because he had a dictatorship, but he had a functioning country, a functioning police and army that stopped all the Africans from Sahara that wanted to reach Europe. And that bitch ordered his assassination, and the next day the gates opened. And now you have 10 or with between 10 and 15 NGO ships at the shores of Libya, and every day they bring thousands of young African males into Europe. And I wonder, is it a coincidence? Or maybe one of the reasons that they took him out was to open a doorway.
Well, I believe that Gaddafi also wanted to remove Libya from, or like the fiat, right? He wanted to actually go back to the gold standard. And so that was a big thing, especially because of the amount of oil that Libya has, right? And so they'd be able to kind of start dictating the agreements on whether or not, right, they actually participate in our current international, finance system or monetary system, pardon me. And so that was also a really big deal for them. And you know that there's a certain group of people, just as much as they love immigration and they love open borders, they love money more. I don't know, maybe people in the chat, they'll also have some ideas of why taking Gaddafi out was one of the things. And I mean, like we've seen, obviously there's slave market, open air slave markets in Libya, and I'm sure that to some extent there were, but also I would assume that ISIS has majority control over that territory. Reed Monroe in the chat. Good night and have a good sleep.
Yes, good night, Reed.
As Hasdak in the chat, she's Ashkenazi. Who's Ashkenazi? Let's see. I'll scroll back up. See who he's talking about.
Everyone is Ashkenazi.
Well, that's the thing, like I always worry with kind of the docs thing coming out. I'm like, okay, well, am I going to be a Fed, a fag, or a Jew? Like, which one am I gonna be? But no, I'm going to be D. None of the above. I'm a good girl.
I'm a transgender African Jewish midget. I'm
Guys,
I'm all of the above.
it seems like he's here with us right now, but we lost him. Our precious Poseidon.
Sorry, guys. I was in the middle of the zoo for about 15 minutes and had to mute myself.
All right. I mean, actually, if you ever want to, kind of put the phone in like a front pocket and just cut a little hole where the camera is, you could take us on a zoo tour.
Well, I thought about that, but it's just so loud and it's obnoxious. And also, I don't want to dox myself by showing a specific. But but yeah, I don't know.
Earlier today, you're like, well, I mean, since it's already out, you might as well tell me who you are. And well, then, Dingo, since it's already out, you might as well show me where the zoo is. Then
listen, I'll tell you who I am.
No, that's all right. No, we're good. I don't want to play this game anymore. I'm good.
I heard you say something while I was muted. While I was muted, I heard you say that you got a whipping one time, and just the threat, the thinking that would happen again kept you acting very good. I think you proved my point trying to disprove it.
I wasn't trying to disprove. I just was letting you know I'm not a fan. That's why I am biased against the belt. I am really biased against the belt because that one scared the living heck out of me. Ugh.
Well, see, I see a perfect world in where little girls grow up and they might get one spanking, just like you did, and they know that their dad and husband can both spank them, and so they act great the entire lives.
Oh, that is a perfect world. I am.
And everybody's happy.
Okay, so yeah, like one spanking, not too many times. You just want to spank them like just one good time, and that's it.
Yeah, exactly. So you have to get that one spanking to get used to it.
Yeah, but never a bunch of times, never a closed fist, and never anything that can really break the skin, or never anything that's at a force that could break the skin.
No, seriously. Like, and we would have to just have an entire discussion on this to really get through it all. But I really can't emphasize enough what the punishment I think should be dished out in this fantasy world to a man who hit his wife when she didn't deserve it, hit her with a closed fist at all, anywhere in the face. Like, he would be beaten so badly by the other men in the community that if he ever even thought about doing it again, he would immediately just cower in the corner. So, like, there will be zero, in my perfect world, there's a zero tolerance policy for abuse. None. But having said that, I think there are certain punishments and fears of those punishments that would save our society from the degradation that we're in today.
And you mentioned this earlier, and I really agreed with you, where you said that, if we got the relations between men and women back on track, back to the way that it's supposed to be, all of the other problems would be so much easier to solve. And I couldn't agree with you more. And
Oh, they'd fix themselves. They would fix themselves. Women would stop focusing on outsiders because they would have way more kids.
yep.
Then they would stop working because they had so many kids. The economy would fix itself because of that alone. Um, what else? Our population obviously would start growing again instead of shrinking. And then we, since we would be so protective over our big families, would probably be more apt to pass some laws to get these fucking darkies out of here so they'll stop raping our fucking women and shit.
Yeah, no, I think you're absolutely right, and that's why like on my channel, you'll hear me talk about the relation between men and women way more than I'll talk about the specific relation between blacks and whites. I agree. I think it's one of the most important things to go back to because the problems would start to fix themselves. You're 100% on point. And that's our Dingo, just right as normal.
And for the record, I could never see myself spanking my wife ever. Like I don't think I could even do it.
At
But
least
at the
not
same time,
punch.
well, yeah, right. At the same time,
Sorry.
I know that she would never like I know that she would never cheat on me either, so I would never have to. And that's exactly the symmetry I envision.
No, that's exactly right. Like I'm the same. I totally think the same way as you do, especially with this, right? Because yeah, there's no situation where my fiance or when he's my husband that he would ever have to. He'd ever be in a position where that's the only option or the best option, and that's the way that we should live our lives, right? Where kind of the worst option is not even, we're not putting ourselves in a place where that's even a possibility, right? You don't act in a fashion where that's where you're at risk for, like that to start happening.
Hey, I'd like to ask the chat something. YouTube sent me a message that the health of the stream is not good, that probably I have a bad internet connection. I wanted to ask the chat, how is the stream coming? Are there interruptions or is it okay?
Well, because I've been, right, I mean, you haven't been cutting out once. I haven't been cutting out. I've got the stream just kind of like halfway up because I've got the chat. So I can only see like kind of the little bottom half of the stream, and it's a little hard to tell if it's cutting out or not because of right the memes. You don't know when they switch or not. But yeah, if the stream is good, chat, press 1. And if it's not good, if there have been any interruptions, and especially coming from Poseidon's end,
Oh,
press.
let me finish. Let me finish. If it's
Yes.
not good, it's probably your wife's fault and she needs a whipping.
Nice.
No, or maybe it's probably my internet or my computer. I have a very, very old computer that is struggling. The CPU is working almost 100%
Oh,
to encode all the time.
well, I mean, I that's one of the things. I've got a laptop that I use, right? And the heat of the laptop, it's been getting hot, because I've got to, get myself some dust off. I've got to actually open the thing up. But the temperature that is actually reaching, it's where it's so hot for you to touch the bottom of, like after a while, it's oof, not good, not good. But I think we have a backup around the house, so anything goes wrong. But yeah, no, I'm seeing a lot of ones in the chat, Poseidon. So, well, there was one F9. I think refresh is F5. But yeah, I think I get it, Todd Whelan. I get it. Yeah, we've
Hmm.
got lots.
So,
I
Poseidon, what time is Greece?
It's a quarter past 3
late.
Wait, a.m.?
a.m. Yes.
Dear Lord, Poseidon.
Yes.
Well, Poseidon was just so happy that he could stream again. I mean, he had to. He had to just come on.
Yeah, I was.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
I didn't have a microphone for 10 days. I talked about it at the beginning. I have a good microphone that's only 3 months old, and the USB connection broke, and I gave it to repair because it is under guarantee. But they said they need 2 weeks to repair it, so I bought a new microphone, a cheap one, to be able to stream in the meantime, and it was defective. I gave it back, bought a second one, also defective. Gave it back, bought a third one, also defective. This is the third one. But I managed to make it work with a new sound card.
Yeah, I remember. I remember you talking about that earlier. That's crazy.
Yes,
Uh, it was just. It was weird to me that the whole time I was on my honeymoon and everything, I was looking for your your streams and your videos and stuff, and I was like, wow, he hadn't done a stream the whole time. And as soon as I come back, you're doing streams. I think the gods just wanted us to
yes.
come back at the same time.
I think so.
The gods know better than. Although I am a god too, so I should know too.
But you've got a good line to them. You know, you're able to kind of talk these things out, and
I
yeah.
uh, I actually have one more store to do before I'm off for the day. It's a very long day. It's 7:15 where I'm at, and I've been at work since 5:30. So,
Oh,
but I won't be able to do this store without a lot of noise, and that'll kill the stream. Absolutely kill it. So it was a pleasure talking to you guys, and hopefully, like I hope that we can do a stream soon, all three of us.
yeah.
Um, and, during a better time for Poseidon, whenever I'm off earlier, and we can go into this healing the relationship between men and women thing. I think that'd be a great stream.
Oh, that would be awesome. That would be fantastic. So
And it would be perfect. Two men and one woman.
perfect numbers.
Can't have the women getting too uppity now.
That's right. Once you put
I'm
more
just
than once you put a couple of us in the same room, that's when we plot against you and we start taking each other's sides. It's a mess. You don't want that.
well,
You don't want
that's how you get bears. The bears are attracted to women's periods.
that.
You don't want bears, do you?
I don't want bears. I don't want anyone
Okay.
stealing my picnic basket. So we're good.
I'm just kidding. Well, Poseidon, thank you. Thanks for letting me come on for a minute,
Uh,
Poseidon, and I will talk to you soon, my friend.
Thank you for coming, and we must organize this stream whenever you want.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
I
any
would
days
actually
that
like
are
to. Go ahead.
oh, I was just saying any days that are good for you.
If we could, how about this? If we could, let's plan it for Saturday, because I would like to just go ahead and make this an episode of the podcast, and we can just put this up on TRN.
Oh, that'd be nice. That's a good neutral ground.
Yes, I'm available any day.
Okay, we
And
can
I've
do it
got
in the morning for me and Kayla, and that should be in the afternoon for you on Saturday.
what
I,
time?
I prefer later because in the afternoon,
Bed.
yes, there are kids here, and I can't stream because there's too much background noise.
Well, just beat them, and they'll be quiet.
We
I mean, you
haven't
see,
fully
all of
discussed it yet.
all of these problems you guys keep bringing up are solvable by one thing: just violence against your loved ones.
I'm too lazy. I don't want to beat
We
them.
we we haven't fully discussed what the plan is. I don't think we should be implementing any parts of it just willy-nilly. All right? That's no beating until after Saturday stream. All right?
Yeah, I'm just kidding. I would never want to see you beat your kid. Poseidon. No, I'm just joking.
I've
But
Yeah.
okay,
Sorry,
so
Dingo,
I
I've
guess
already
maybe
disavowed you.
So for me, any time after midnight here is okay for me. So and
Okay, so
we have
about four or so our time, Dingo.
that sounds perfect. Maybe we could just we could all get on the stream around 4, and we could start recording around 4:30 or 5.
yes.
Yeah, that'd be good.
All right. Well, look, I'll talk to you both before then, but yeah,
Definitely.
we can schedule it for that.
Sounds good.
All right.
Have
Bye,
a
you
good
guys.
night. Be safe. And tell your lovely Mrs. Dingo we all say hi.
I will, and I will be safe. I'm in the hood, as you can tell. Well, that's in my entire state, but I've got my pistol in my pocket, just wishing a nigga would.
There you go. There you go.
But
And yeah, get back to making those white pups when you get home.
all right, I'll see you later. Bye.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Dingo's always so funny having on.
Yes.
Right? You're just having a nice mellow stream, and then he comes on trying to justify, like, absolutely just beating the crap out of your wife and children, out of women and babies. And don't try to tell me, stream, he didn't say those exact words. We all heard it. He totally did. I'm kidding.
I was trying to understand if he was kidding or he was serious.
Well, we'll figure it out on Saturday. We'll get the details to it. Oh, goodness. That's our Dingo. That is our Dingo. Oh, I'm so happy for him. How long have you been married, Poseidon?
Oh, it's 11 years, 11 or 12.
Oh,
11.
that's fantastic.
11 years. Yes, I got married, and I got married late. I was
Really?
I was 36, 37.
Oh, that is late.
Yes, I got married late, and actually, I never wanted to marry, and I never wanted to have children. I was against marriage and against children. And
What?
yes, and I was the biggest Israel supporter you can imagine.
Oh no. Oh, I love this Poseidon. I'm so glad I met this Poseidon now.
Yes, that time changes you.
It does. It really does. That's why, I mean, to some extent, right? It's like, and a lot of us, we never just, kind of woke up and then our political leanings were right or far right or conservative, any of those things, right? Normally, you kind of, as you grow up, you start to lean right. You start to kind of become more conservative when, you have certain aspects of your life and things like that. And so, to some extent, right, I'm like, I can't blame people for, if someone was like a hippie or something, because I was a little hippie-ish. I've said that before. I mean, I was never like a communist or thought that we should open the borders or all be friends and sing Kumbaya while the world burns around us. But I mean, I've worn tie-dye once or twice in my life. I'll say that. When I was a teenager, I was like, 15 years old. But yeah, you got to turn in that tie-dye for a nice Hugo Boss suit. Little nice Hugo Boss uniform. But yeah, I mean, 11 years, that's fantastic. I think that's a great example to put out for the people watching. Because, I mean, you've got definitely a lot of young men watching. I'm sure there are people that are your age and stuff, but
Yes,
yeah.
and what's funny is that I never wanted to have children, And then when I had my first son, it changed me. And then I had my second, and then came the third, and they didn't come by accident. It was a choice.
Yes.
And then I wanted a fourth one, but my wife said she can't handle no more.
She vetoed you. Oh,
Yeah, so now I need a new wife to have another three.
nice, nice. I like what you did there. I like that. That was funny, actually.
Yes, but
Um,
my advice for younger men is start having children uh, before you turn 30 years old. It's better if you are young. And try to have at least three. One or and two are not enough. Because one will always be alone. Two, two is the absolute minimum. But I think three is
magic number.
the magic number. Yes. But if you can have more, it's even better. But try to have them as early as you can. Not when you're 20 years old, but before 30. I think it's better. And actually, this is how our life was for thousands of years. For thousands of years, we had 3, 4, 5 children, 6, maybe more, and we had them between the age of 20 and 30. Only in the past 2 or 3 generations did this change. And this change is unnatural. And because it is unnatural, and we are going against nature, when a species goes against nature, this species gets extinct. So we will be erased from this planet, like many other species, because we are going completely against our nature. We are having very few children and at a very uh, late age. And this is not natural.
No, well, you're absolutely right, and I think the thing is though, and oh, hello Blau in the chat. He just popped in. He's always nice, but I think that one of the things is that we are so, and like you said, right? You said how you planned for your children, and a lot of us are just like that. We, a lot of, because we're white, right? We are. It's natural for us to want to be, we're very case selective. We want to plan for our children. We want to make sure that they have a very good life and that we have all of the resources necessary to support them. I think one of the things that sometimes we do though is we kind of we overdo what we feel is needed to provide for children, if that makes sense, right? We assume we need a lot more money and a lot more things than we actually do. And especially if your life is moving at a good rate, right? You're making money at a good rate and your health is good and you've got good support systems if you need it. You don't need as much just money. And that's one of the things where I got, definitely kind of confused on things, right? I really thought that to have kids, I really needed to have, a husband that was making, well over 6 figures. Um, and I realized it's not the case. I realized that, because you can have, two parents that, and I don't know, obviously the money situation is different for everyone everywhere, right? But you can have two parents and, maybe just the husband works or whatever, and you make about, say, like, 80,000, something like that a year, right? That's more than enough to bring a child into this world, especially with two parents and especially with a stay-at-home mom. You don't want to have to go up to 120,000 a year with two people working because, well, obviously, right, there's no mom to be there and to take care of the children. I think that it's good for us to be able to plan ahead, but we can't over plan ourselves into extinction.
Yes, children. Actually, you don't need in your life. You don't need as much as you think. We. This is another of our problems. We think that we need a lot of stuff when we actually don't need it. You can.
That's right.
I'll say a few things, and I'll take, for example, me. I'm unemployed, and my wife is too unemployed too. Uh, and we have three children. But because when I was working, half of what I was earning, I was putting it aside,
Oh, that's so smart.
and I was doing this for over 20 years. No matter what my salary or my income was, since the day I finished school and started working, always at least what I was earning was going to my little
Little piggy bank.
piggy bank. Yes, exactly. So now that I'm not working, I have to be very careful of how much we spend as a family. And I've realized that you can have the same quality of life even with half the money every month. Most of the money that we spend is for stupid things that you don't really need.
That's true.
But only if you come to this, if you are forced to start controlling all your daily expenses and deciding what you will buy and what you will not, then you will realize that how much money you were throwing away. And I realized this now because of the situation I am. And I realized that back then when I was working, I was putting half of my salary in my piggy bank. I was spending too much. I could be able to have more money put aside. But no, we learn to we want always new clothes, new computer, new phone, holidays, new car. You can have a quality life even by limiting some of these things. It won't affect the quality of your life. So, for example, I stopped eating outside. I cook at home.
That's where a lot of money goes. Just right there, even.
Yes, and I eat at home. The difference in the economic difference is huge. And the quality of the food when you buy the ingredients and you cook it is much it's better than eating outside. So you can adjust your way of life in a way that you can afford to to have 3 children and spend less than 30,000 a year for the whole family.
Wow.
It is doable, and without making any compromises on the stuff that are important.
Well, and that's one of the things that I think, and I was so happy to hear you bring that up, because especially here in America, right? We are not taught about how to save money, right? We're not taught even how to balance a checkbook, nothing. And, I mean, obviously our identity is being replaced with the identity of a consumer. And so we've got all of these, and obviously there's the debt associated with attending college or university, um, the lowered economic or employment prospects for people coming out of college. I mean, when because I was living with my fiance when he was attending university, and there was a decent chunk of time that we were living in his car. We kind of just, we had to make it work. I wanted to be there and be with him and be supportive of him. And so, that's something that we had to do while we were saving our money up. And another thing was, after he got out of university, we go and, it was very hard and I'm sure that the story will ring true with people working. It was very hard for him to find a job that he was obviously qualified enough for, because, well, not only do they want you to have, a degree, a bachelor's degree and so forth, but they want you to have the experience as well. But obviously you can't get experience unless you're going to college. But then also he would even say, okay, I've got to get some kind of job. I'm just going to apply to the gas station. And the gas station lady is like, you're too overqualified. Like, right? Oh, of course, right. I'm too overqualified to run the food mart at a gas station. Sure, why not, right? And so we end up going and living back at our parents' home, right? He was kind of living we were going between living in my room, right, and living in his garage room, and eventually, right, but we saved and saved and saved. We never went out. We never went to movies. We went out to dinner. Nothing, right? We just saved up, and eventually, right, he got himself a good job. He was able, because on top of it, right, when you're waiting for kind of not waiting, right, but you're working to find that job, don't just save your money. Well, of course, right, that's 50% of it, save your money, but also start doing things to make yourself a better applicant, right? Where, get certifications online. Obviously, if you're in the tech field, right, just going on and getting these certifications, right, getting your A+, getting your C++, whatever it is, you're able to go on and start to kind of beef up your resume. And yes, even when you get a good job, and if it's a great job where you're making a bunch of money, whatever it is, I want you to always remember to save your money. If you're in a position where you can take 1,000 out of your paycheck every time, I want you to do that, right? I don't want you to get stuck in a lifestyle where you're buying all of these nice things because it's nice now. One of the things that make us great, right? Well, one of the things that make us white is our ability to engage in delayed gratification. And we want, we need to be able to benefit from that. And the delayed gratification of putting your money aside, not just as a rainy day fund, right? But to actually, start to save up. Okay, well, are you going to be getting married? Well, I mean, you want it to be nice. You don't want to have to regret it or anything. You want to provide your woman with a nice little day that she can remember, but also, never overdo something, never splurge on something, but save your money up so it can be nice enough. Are you going to be having a kid? Well, you're going to have, I mean, I can just go down the line here, and I'm not going to totally go into it. I'm going to stop my little ramble. But at the same time, I think that's one of the things that try to be smart with your money, right? Try to be like Poseidon. And if you ever are out of work or, anything like that, you want to make sure that you didn't take advantage of the situation when you were working and you were making good money. You want to be able to actually put some aside. And because it's all about getting those wives, not wives. I mean, Poseidon might get another wife because he wants more kids. And well, if she's not willing, but that's a whole separate topic. But it's all about getting the wife and having the children and being able to eventually put a down payment on that home. You don't need a super fancy car. You don't need super fancy shoes. I mean, don't look like a bum. No one wants you to look like a bum. I want you all to be handsome, young men, well-tailored clothing with a nice, beautiful young woman on your arm and a nice, beautiful baby on her hip. So, anywho.
Yes, because
Head.
the white baby will give you more satisfaction than any pair of shoes or iPhone or anything else. It's not even comparable.
And remember, this is what they want you to do. They want you to be more focused on buying those shoes or saving up for that iPhone instead of baby.
And they want you to be in debt. Never be in debt. I never borrowed money from a bank, never in my life, not even 1 cent. I never owed money. I never had to pay interest in my life. Before I got red pilled about the JQ and understand who is behind the interest, I was always I was philosophically against interest. I said this is something stupid to pay interest to someone else. I never paid interest. I never will. So never be in debt. Never. Do what you are able to do with the money you have. If you don't have enough money to buy a new car, don't buy it. Wait until you have managed to get the money or buy a used car. I've changed in my lifetime. I have had to change 10, 15 cars. Always when I bought a car, I went there and I bought the car with my money. This is the right way to live your life. If you start by creating debt to banks or to credit cards, then this debt with the interest adds up and you become a slave. And this is what they want. They want us to be slaves.
And there are only two ways that they can enslave you, like actually enslave you, is to put you in prison or to put you in debt. Those are absolutely the only two ways that you will ever be a slave to them. And you have control over your mind, but this is the one way that they can actually have control over your body and your property. So I agree. Never have a credit card. I mean, it's one thing to have a credit card in case of emergency, right? Because you can't be carrying a whole bunch of cash with you or anything, whatever, right? I can understand that, but don't, that's when you better have a really good idea of what an emergency actually is. Because, sorry, go ahead.
I do all my buying only with credit cards. I never use cash, but I don't spend more than I can pay at the end of the month. So
Okay, yeah.
I use the credit card in order not to carry cash on me. But uh, the credit card is a very tricky thing because you don't give the money out of your pocket and you give the card, it makes you spend more than you actually can afford. So this is the critical point. Don't spend more than you can afford. Use the credit card as a tool, but at the end of the month, when you have to pay, you must pay the entire balance in order not to be charged with interest, because their goal is to make you to charge you interest. So I'm using the credit card in a way that I use the bank and the bank is not using me.
That's perfect, right? And that's something that I actually did forget of, simply just, yeah, paying it all off. You never spend more than you do. And yeah, the interest won't kick in. You're not actually allowing them to exploit you. You're able to exploit them. I think, yeah, we need to, I don't know, I think it would be good to kind of keep, I don't know, keep kind of telling our young men things like this, right? Maybe things that their parents should have told them, their school should have taught them. Kind of, I don't know, all of those things. I definitely, yeah. Those are my thoughts.
Yeah, so this stream has gone now for over
Let's see, how long?
it's over 3 hours. I planned to do only 1 hour and now it's 3 hours.
Whoops.
Yes, and I prepared a lot of topics that I didn't use.
Oh, maybe tomorrow.
Yes.
I think that'd be good. And yeah, well, tomorrow I think, somewhere between the 1 to 3 mark, chat fam. I think we'll be having a guest on my channel as well. Just wanted to throw that out there. I don't want to be.
Who are you having? Can you tell us, or is it a surprise?
Well, it's not too big a surprise, but at the same time, I want to make sure that everything is set in stone. So I'm going to be, let's see, I'll probably be announcing it earlier tomorrow. I'll announce it on Twitter and everything like that. But let's see. He's someone that, to be honest, I've never watched. But let me get his name, and then I can. Oh, here it is. Sorry about that. I wanted to make sure I didn't mix him up with someone because he had a similar name. His name is Thomas Baden Rice. Does anyone know who Thomas Baden Rice is? I've got to do all my research, so that's what I'm going to be doing as well tonight. But let's see.
I don't know him.
Yeah, Pravada, who has been helping. Helping immensely, right? Helping me kind of set up guests or reach out to people, helping with the scheduling and everything. He said that this would be a good person to possibly have on, and that they're not necessarily political or anything like that. But have a good night, Trash. And yeah, so we'll see if the chat knows who this is. Thomas Baden Rice. I'll put him in the chat.
I want everyone in the chat to check the description in the video. I've put the link to your channel and to Dingo's channel. If anyone isn't subscribed, they should subscribe. and
Mm.
and I will put your Twitter too.
Oh, that'd be perfect. Yeah, because that seems to be where I announce new shows, or kind of give you a little heads up before we go live, things like that. Oh,
You
thank
use
you, David, in the chat. We hope you have a good day as well.
I'm using Twitter for over a year now, and tweeting about when I upload a new video, and I get zero reaction. Zero. It's strange, and I think I'm probably shadow banned.
Well, I mean, I don't even know how much. I mean, because unless I've got someone like Frame Game or something like retweeting it, like someone big, I get like a few likes. It's just kind of I think people just kind of use it just as a place of like, oh, okay, and then they click on it and then they do the thumbs up when they're actually watching the vid.
I get like zero likes.
Well, and you'll have to, because I haven't been on Twitter, and so when I click on my thing for the past few hours, it's going to be just a whole bunch of tweets popping up. But let's see. Where is
this
my profile?
this Twitter
No.
thing is I don't like it.
Necessary evil, that's what I say.
Yes, necessary evil because everyone uses it, but it's a stupid
Exactly.
platform.
Let's see, where is my Poseidon? Because I'm looking at Poseidon and I'm not seeing you in any of my notifications. So let's see. Where could he be? We may have to see if you are shadow banned. You're going to have to just put out a so that we can, like if it pops up in my feed,
Ah, yes, we must experiment.
Oh, okay. I was looking for a tweet of whether you tweeted out this stream, because I was wondering. I was like,
No,
what?
no, I didn't tweet it. It was a secret stream.
And it was a secret. Well, then I guess I can't spoil the secret tweeting it out now, can I?
No, it was. I wanted to test my new microphone.
It sounds great, by the way. Oh, okay. And Pravada in the chat is also saying that it could be a Apollonian germ tomorrow. We're not sure yet. So now Apollonian germ I've heard of, and I've even watched a couple of his videos. But I always like to do a lot of extra research. Oh, bye, Pete One. And thank you, Stormtrooper Trivium. I really enjoyed Thomas Goodrich yesterday as well. He is, I mean, he's very good, obviously, at the works that he does, the books that he writes. But even just as a person, he's fantastic.
His film Hellstorm is fantastic. I saw it about a year ago, and it was shocking.
Oh my goodness, it really was.
It was
I
shocking for
mean,
me, especially because it was in Germany after the war, and my mother was born in Germany during the war, and so the things I saw in this film made me think about what what was her life and what was the life of my grandmother and my grandfather who lived through this awful situation.
right, it hit really close to home for you. I couldn't even imagine, because like I'm normally I don't get too emotional or anything, But when I watched The Greatest Story Never Told, right, with that, I actually got really upset and almost I started to tear up, right? I wasn't totally crying or anything, but I definitely started to tear up. And when I watched Hellstorm, I was so shocked and so disgusted that I went right past, any like possible crying or anything. I was just like almost numb from the information that I was hearing. It was such it was such a heavy thing, and yet that all of it's true. There's no question. And when you had never heard anything like that before, it's indescribable, the feeling that you get watching Hellstorm. And I suggest anyone that is listening to this, if you haven't, we recommend you do. It's a lot. It's really heavy. It's incredibly depressing. I've seen other people that have talked about it right after they watched it, and it seems the number one word that I really see used is the word depressing. So, Hellstorm, it's about the atrocities performed against the German people. After the war had, like, right as well, and also when Soviet forces entered into towns. It's it's bad. Yeah, the Glockun Khan in the chat is asking, is Hellstorm that bad? Yes, it is.
Yes, it's really bad, and so the Allies did
Yes.
horrible things in Germany. Things that the Germans did not do. Because I know this because Greece was occupied during World War II from the Germans. And okay, of course it was a war. They killed Greek people, they executed people, but they didn't behave like psychopaths or animals.
Savages, absolute savages.
Yes, they didn't rape, they didn't torture. The Russians and the Americans, they were the bad guys. They did very ugly stuff. So it's
Well, and I mean,
now that I mentioned Greece, funny thing is, I don't know if people in the chat know this, but Greece was occupied during World War II, and when the Greeks and when the world ended and the Greeks were liberated, they started a civil war. A civil war between communists, Greeks, and the rest of the Greeks. Russia funded a communist movement in Greece in order to overthrow the government right after the war. And the atrocities that the Greek communists did to other Greek people were much worse than what the Germans did during the war.
well, and I actually didn't know about the kind of funded revolution that happened post 45 in Greece. I've never heard of that.
Yes, because when after World War II, the Allies divided the Balkans. So the Greece was given to the Western allies, and Greece was under the influence of the Americans and the Brits, and other countries in the Balkans were under the Russian influence and got communist regimes. And the Russians didn't like this, so they gave money and guns to Greek communists, and they created an army who tried to overthrow the government. And this communist army of Greeks did very horrible things to other Greek people, similar to the things that you see in the Hellstorm movie. So they raped, they killed children, they killed many Greek men and women, and they took the children and they sent them to Russia. Tens of thousands of Greek babies were abducted from the communists and they were sent to Russia in order to become communists.
Oh, jeez. No, I had no idea about that whatsoever.
Yes, and this war, this civil war between communists and the rest of the Greeks, it costed more lives were lost there than from the war with the Germans.
And this, I mean, it all goes back to the fact that we are never taught any of these things, ever, like at all. It's always the same narrative. It's just, it depends to what extent that narrative is being pushed. You know, nowadays it's, you know, I mean, for the most part nowadays, right, we're not even seeing them really teach about World War II, right? I mean, they really don't seem to be as focused on actual Holocaust guilt like they have been focused to just the greater oppression of, you know, all of these other groups of people, obviously including the Jews. But yeah, I mean, it's I was never taught about World War II to any true extent of it. And I mean, you know, because when I would talk with my fiance about this topic, he knew more about it than I did. Absolutely. But, you know, and it was almost like this joke that when I would learn something new about World War II, it was like, oh, good job, Kayla. You know what year the war ended. Yay. But I mean, right, I had to learn everything on my own, or, you know, through my fiance teaching me. I didn't know anything about it. It was like, and I figure if it was like that then, and now it's even worse than it was before, they must not know. I mean, do they even know that the Japanese were in any way involved in World War II? Like at all? Or Italy? I doubt it.
Yes, there's a lot of things that most people don't know, and I didn't know them either. So what happened in Germany after the war, most of it I learned it through this film, Hellstorm. It opened my eyes.
Well, and that's, you know, I mean, that's why, right, people like Goodrich, you know, I don't remember the name of, you know, the creators of The Greatest Story Never Told, but those are why, you know, David Irvings of the world are people that are so important to our movement, because, right, they teach the truth. They show you, right, the holes in our education, especially when it comes to historical things. When it comes to history, we are being deprived of the truth, right? And, you know, in replacement of this narrative. And yeah, they definitely still serve. They really will always serve a great purpose. And eventually, when they are, no longer teaching, it is going to be our job to teach the future generations. And I think that, that will really help us, in being able to show people, right, where they were lied to, and that they weren't simply just lied about one thing or this other thing. Oh, stupid ambulance is driving by. That.
It's okay.
There we go. Okay. Well, clearly someone is in need of something. But I was trying to look for a pleasant story that I could, send us out on. Do you have a pleasant story that we can just kind of describe briefly for the people listening?
I'm not the right person to tell pleasant stories.
Oh,
I have prepared.
but I wanted to just see. I'm like, no, Poseidon doesn't always have negative things and sad and depressing things that make you want to kill yourself. No.
I can
Okay,
I
yes.
can I can give you 10 stories, 10 unpleasant stories that I have prepared.
I know, right? Let's see. Let's see. Chad, are you having a good night? Good night. And that'll make our night better. Right. It's so depressing. It's such a bummer. And a bummer is just because my brain is too depressed to think of it actually like a good word. But yeah. So well, I'll just anytime I run out of actual things to talk about for a minute, I just talk about myself. I know, but actually, I am going to be starting a new little mini series on my channel. People that watch, you guys, you already know about it a little bit, and I'm going to just kind of title it, the Collected Works. And what the Collected Works series will be on is I am just going to be reading books that have been written by people that we like, with whether it's my first book it's actually a small story, In Hoc Signo Vincens by George Lincoln Rockwell. And so that's going to be the first thing. But I think it's always nice to be able to get back to reading. And I think that we, sometimes it's, I think it's getting a little hard for us sometimes to sit down and actually read a book. And I thought it would be a win-win situation if I could read a book, and actually get the benefits of doing so, and be able to provide an audiobook for all of the listeners to have. And, they can have that kind of playing in the background while they're doing other things. And, so yes, George Lincoln Rockwell will probably be where I start it with that story. Eventually, I'd like to maybe go into Evola and Nietzsche. I think those would kind of be nice things. And yeah, let's see, Poseidon, do you have an Ask FM account?
No, I don't. And I noticed yesterday that you created one, and I was trying to figure out what this thing is.
I'm trying to figure it out too. Well, it's a website, right? So, like a content creator or something, they can set it up, and if people have a specific question, right, you're able to actually go and type your questions in, especially if we have guests, things like that. That way, because I've had some bad luck with missing questions in the chat, and I always feel really, really bad about that. And so I'm trying to set something up so that we can get those questions and have them all in one place. Everyone can put them there, and we'd let people know about specific guests we're going to have beforehand. and they could, they're able to actually, and yeah, I mean, we may not be able to get through all of them, or maybe it just won't apply to keep the conversation flowing. But for the most part, right, you want to make sure that your audience is able to be as involved as possible, or at least as involved as they want to be. Um, so, so that's kind of what we're thinking. But yeah, I'm having a little trouble with Ask FM. I'm trying to figure it out here, and let's see. V Blanken in the chat is asking if we've ever checked out Goy Chat. He's saying it's like a Skype or a Discord alternative, and it's at goy.su.
I don't know. I must check it out.
Yeah, I'm new to Discord, and I get it. Like everyone's always stealing your information. I to some extent, I'm always like surprised when people are surprised that a website is stealing your information.
When a website is not charging you and is free,
Yes.
this means that you are the product. They are selling you. This goes for Facebook, for Twitter, for Google. We are the products in all these websites. They collect our information and they sell it. This is how they make money.
Yes. I mean, right? That's how it is. It's just I thought everyone knew that, like, of course, right? They're not charged. They've got to be getting something out of you being a user of their website.
I've tried out Discord, but I found it too complicated. I don't like the interface.
Yeah, Discord it's not too bad. It's, I don't know, it's good to kind of some people either they don't have a Twitter or they don't use it. And so I think the most effective part is the kind of the direct messaging that you can do. Just kind of like pops up, because I don't set notifications for Twitter or anything, and so for Discord it just shows up as a number in your tab when somebody ats you or pings you or something like that.
Oh yes, to use it as a messenger, maybe it's good for this job, but all these servers and all these thousands of messages in there and the different rooms in each server,
Yes.
I cannot follow it, and I'm only in 3 or 4 servers subscribed, and I find it too much information.
Yeah, I'm at my max of Discord servers I want to be in, for sure. I'm in like 5 or so, and that's more than enough.
Because you're not able to follow the flow of all this information.
Exactly.
People post too much.
Oh, yes. And it's because you're able to reply immediately, so kind of with other forums and stuff like that, it's maybe not as right, the other forums aren't as fast paced.
So I want to thank everyone in the chat for
Thank you, chat.
watching us tonight. Thank you, Kayla.
Oh, thank
for
you,
coming.
Poseidon.
And we'll do this again soon.
I can't wait.
So, good night, everyone.
All right, I'm going to
Bye.
pop out of here. Thank you very much.
Thank you too. Bye.
I'll talk to you later on. Bye.